Hello, sorry. Hello, this is the My Artifact episode number 3594. Today's date is September 16, 2025. It's been almost like a night at 9:51 p.m. Alright, let's just jump directly to the question. Alright, yeah. By the way, I am actually kind of like asking very interesting question. Okay, like today we are actually started from like we are starting a what if question. What if question. First of all, let me tell you what exactly what if question and why am I asking this question to myself. Okay, yeah. What if question is kind of like a something is this thing that you are kind of like a somebody ask you such a question that solution is not exist or the solution might not in reality exist in reality. Okay, yeah. Like example is this thing that what if Earth will stop rotating, then what actually happened. So basically this thing when you are try to think like that na, you are actually thinking about every possible perspective. Okay, yeah. And regarding about how much knowledge that you have, your answer would be much more sharpened, much more detailed. Okay, yeah. Like if I ask this question to a normal person that what if Earth would stop rotating, then what will gonna happen? Most of people say that the some part of the world would be kind of like a something get light, some part of the world might be kind of like a get into the darkness, and that's it. But there is a lot of thing actually happen when the kind of like a some Earth stop rotating. Then probably our atmosphere will gonna affect, season will gonna affect, the temperature it gonna affect, the harsh kind of like a somebody, like basically we can't even live in this particular world. So basically what is actually happen now when you try to ask what if question, the detail of the answer determines the how much kind of like a something something that knowledge that you have. Okay, yeah. So that's why I decided that let's ask this question, let's ask this what if question, because when I ask this what if question I would kind of like a think about different perspective. Okay, things and that and that and that, and try to kind of like a somebody think about every detail what will gonna happen. Obviously those detail depends on the knowledge that I have, and it might be kind of like a somebody improve little bit of knowledge, little bit, I don't know how, but it kind of like a add kind of like a something very different perspective of looking at the world, and this might be really good. So that's why I decided that let's ask what if question. All right, yeah. So let's ask what if question. First question is very interesting. Okay, what if gravity uh, varies depend on our mood? Oh, okay. Okay, gravity, like basically the gravity. Okay, let me explain. Okay, so we have a gravity, we actually feel the gravity. Our gravity is 9.8. What is actually 9.8? 9.8 means like that ki my weight in here is a 73 kilogram, okay, kg. If I went to US, my weight would be 73. If I went to London, if I went to anywhere on the planet, my weight would be 73. Why? Because kind of like a gravity is kind of like a act same in every part of the world. But if I went to moon, then my weight would be kind of like a something like that ki 53 kilo, or maybe like a basically, yeah, 53 kilo, or maybe kind of like a closely between the 45 to 50 kg. Why they reduce, why this kind of like happened? This actually happened because of the less gravity, because the moon has a very less gravity. So having less gravity, that means you feel little bit of less, you feel little bit less weight and things like that. If you went to Jupiter, your weight would be more than 300 or 400 kilo. Yeah, legitly. Yeah, your weight would be 300, 400 kilo. You can't even barely walk. Why? Because it was immense gravity over there. Okay, yeah. So basically, is this thing what I'm trying to tell you? I'm changing the planet. I'm not changing my size and shape. No, I'm exactly same as it is. My weight in Earth is a 72 kilo. My weight in a moon would be 53 or 40 kilo, 45 kilogram. If I went to Jupiter, might be 300 to 400 kilogram. This would be happen. So this is what kind of like a simply gravity. is a impact on ourselves. Okay, yeah. Now the question is that what if our gravity would be changed according to our emotion? Okay, yeah. Now this is kind of like a very weird fact. Okay, yeah, because gravity does not change according to anything, but still, if the gravity would be changed according to the emotion, then how it would be? Let's just say, like most of people say that ki I am fall in love. So what does it means? It means that ki I'm like basically I am in cloud 7 or cloud 9, like I'm flying. Okay, yeah. So what exactly means that? It means that ki I'm feeling good or feeling happy or feeling love or things like that. So if I'm gonna resonate that ki happiness would be much feel little bit of lighter. Okay, let's just say that ki I am a happy, then I would be little less lighter. Okay, yeah. If I'm sad, kind of like opposite to the happiness, it would be little bit heavier. Okay, little bit heavier and things like that. Now we're gonna talk about only two emotions right now. Okay, yeah, and try to understand how would be our reality and things like that. Okay, yeah. So let's just say, okay, yeah, that ki if we are in the concert, we might gonna fly. Okay, we might gonna fly. Why? Because of that ki in the concert everyone is really happy, everyone is like actually dancing and things and that. So basically everyone has a kind of like a something feeling happiness. So probably everyone is kind of like a something flying. Okay, legitly flying. Just can you imagine? Yeah, you just legitly people are flying over there. It would be really amazing. Or let's just say that ki like in some certain situation, let's just say that ki if you went to the plane, okay, if you kind of like aboard the plane, so it is really essential to kind of like play the music because you feel little bit of lighter. Okay, yeah. Like if there is sad music is actually happened, then probably entire peoples of the weight would be really heavier. Then the weight would be really heavier. Then probably the kind of like something like the entire plane would be crashed because the weight of the people is kind of like a bit really heavier because everyone is actually listening sad music and things and that. Okay, yeah, this would be kind of like a something very amazing reality. Okay, yeah. Same thing happened with the love, like basically I'm happy, so I would be kind of like a something flying little bit. But let's just say that ki I propose someone and kind of like a somebody I propose the person that I love and that person kind of like said yes, I feel even more extremely happy. So I'm actually flying so much. Okay. So probably I'm just kind of like I'm not walking. I'm kind of like a somebody taking jump from one place to another, like a 10 to 15 feet of jump. Okay, because I'm just kind of like a somebody I just kind of like a somebody that key kind of like a somebody accept the proposal and things like that. How crazy and weird thing would be. What if another emotion? Let's just say sadness. I already talked. Okay, if I feel sadness, then probably I would be kind of like a feel little bit of heavier, right? What if scared? Okay, yeah. Like basically, is this thing that key? If I'm really scared, then how would be? Scared would be kind of like a something also feel little bit of heavy too. Because let me tell you one thing now, there is a two side of emotions. Okay, sad and happy. Okay, yeah. Yes, we have multiple emotions too, but those are multiple emotions are categorized in two different part. Okay, let's just say love is it the group of happiness. Okay, yeah. Then kind of like a something proud is also kind of like a something feeling of happiness. Oh, okay, group of happiness. Anxious is a kind of like a something in part of sadness group. Okay, yeah. Then basically heartbroken is also kind of like a part of sadness group. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing: the every emotion that we have is kind of like a part of two different group: sadness and happy. Okay, if I'm gonna say happy, that means I am kind of like a something proud. I'm kind of like a something feel really good. I'm feel kind of like a something really great. I'm kind of like a something that key lot of kind of like a something like affirmation word and things like that. Okay, yeah. But if you went to kind of like a something sad, that means all the negative things. Okay, yeah, like a lazily heartbroken or kind of like a lot of stuff. Okay, yeah. So regarding about all those emotions, the gravity would be varied. Like basically, if I'm gonna say happy, I might gonna fly maybe 2 feet or 3 feet. If I'm gonna say I am fall in love with someone, so I might gonna fly maybe 5 to 7 feet. If I'm gonna say that ki I'm extremely happy, my career is really good and things and that, I might gonna fly maybe 7 to 8 feet. Okay, yeah. If I'm gonna say I'm really sad, so I'm kind of like a bit really heavy, so it's kind of like a very difficult to walk. If I'm really heartbroken, then I can't even walk because the gravity is so intense that I can't move forward and things like that. So this is what it is. This would be kind of like a things. But regarding about think about this reality, how this would be, how the world would be work. Like let's just say that ki in the concert people will gonna fly, okay, because everyone will gonna happy. Let's just say that ki meditation, okay, let's just say meditation, okay. So in the meditation, what will gonna happen? Uh, People in the meditation camp, people will I'm not really sure people will gonna happy over there, but it's not gonna sad over there too. Okay, yeah. Meditation would be kind of like a somebody considered as a equal. Okay, like basically it's this thing that if you are sad, that means your weight would be 100 kilo. If you are happy, then your weight would be 20 kilo. But if you are doing meditation, then probably your weight would be equal, like exactly what it would be. Like basically my weight would be 70, so it would be 70 in meditation. Okay, yeah. Now another scenario, let's just say examination hall. Okay, yeah, exam hall. In exam hall, everyone feel really stressed. So when everyone feel really stressed, then probably is this thing, the basically entire floor of the building would be crushed down because everyone is kind of like a feeling so much stress. So the weight of them would be really increased because gravity is actually impact on them a lot, and they would kind of like really crush them each other and things like that. Okay, which would be really crazy things. Okay, yeah. uh, then another scenario, what if like skydiving. Okay, yeah. like like basically skydiving. So basically is this thing, the people who went to the skydiving, what would be happen with them? Like basically skydiving is a kind of like a something the game of little bit of scared but little bit of excited and fun too. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing, the people who actually kind of like a went at first time, okay, yeah, went to the first time, they will gonna fall so heavy, like basically is this thing because it's the first time they actually experience this thing. But during the fall, they kind of like simply enjoy that particular skydiving, and when they are kind of like enjoying things, then the slowing down speed would be little less, and they will start flying over there. So it would be really amazing. Okay, yeah. So might be the people who actually went to the skydiving, they might not gonna come back, or I don't know, but it would be really good. Oh yeah. Then another scenario would be dancing. Okay, let's just say. So basically, when we are dancing, what would be happen? Probably we can't even dance. Why? Because everyone are really happy over there. So how does people would gonna dance? Okay, because everyone was flying, and basically we can't dance while flying, right? I'm not really sure, by the way, because I haven't really seen the dance while flying. So probably we can't able to do a dance because everyone was flying. So probably it would be, but yeah. Okay. Now imagine a scenario where like basically let's just say like I already covered everything, dude. Yeah. Like basically I don't really found any kind of like a stuff, but yeah, this is what it is. So basically then what would be new in this new reality? uh the government should supposed to be kind of like somebody say this thing that ki, like basically government would be kind of like a do na ki, government would kind of like somebody initiate such a kind of like a something rules or regulation, so that we meant to be happy. Okay, so basically we have kind of like a something music, or we have kind of like a something that ki music, the pump up music, or kind of like a happy music all the time, or everyone is trying to be happy all the time, even if they are kind of like a sad, they are not trying to be sad, because when they feel really sad, they are kind of like something down to, like basically they will feel really heavy. So probably they should supposed to be happy. Okay. So this would be kind of like something happened, that government would kind of like put all this regulation and things like that, would be something really crazy. Okay. Then basically, yeah. I don't know how I was supposed to explain this thing, but this world would be really amazing to see, right? I don't know, dude. Like basically, uh, but is it actually happened? Like, is it actually happened? Like basically, the gravity. Well, it's not exactly happened, okay? Yeah, because as I mentioned, like physics is not kind of like a somebody telling this, right? Okay, yeah. But well, like, what if like people who are kind of like doing scuba diving? Okay, yeah. Might be the people who are doing scuba diving, they might not gonna, like they will gonna drown. Why? Because scuba diving is really scared, dude, really scared. Like basically this thing, the people who can enjoy, like basically this thing na, ki when you skydiving and scuba diving is a completely different game. Okay, yeah. And emotion is completely inverse. Let me tell you one thing, when you are doing skydiving now, if you are not really kind of like a pro, or if you're not really kind of like a somebody that key expert in this thing, still you can enjoy skydiving because you have parachute, you have a kind of like a somebody helper who actually help you regarding about everything. So basically you actually kind of like a somebody fly, you actually enjoy skydiving. But if I'm gonna say you are scuba diving, then probably, and you are not really expert, then you might not gonna fun. Literally not gonna fun. Even if there is a kind of like assembly, a lot of really beautiful fish over there, but still you will not gonna enjoy over there because it is like a really claustrophobic and things like that. It kind of like adds scared. Okay, yeah. So you might not gonna enjoy. So if you're not gonna enjoy, you will feel really scared, and when you feel really scared, you feel be really heavy, and if when you feel really heavy, you will kind of like a drown, and it's kind of like a somebody when you get drowned, then probably it's really hard to kind of like a get out. Okay, it's really hard to get out. So probably is this thing that ki very less and less people would go will kind of like a go into the kind of like a some ocean and things like that, because most of people are not really expert in this thing. The people who are really expert are in, like if the people are really expert in the scuba diving, they are kind of like a simply put the earphone to kind of like a happy music, and then they went into inside and kind of like a thinking about happy moment. So probably this would be really good. Okay, yeah. But there is also another thing, dude. Na, in a scuba diving, let's just say that ki we actually add weight to kind of like a get down. So let me tell you one thing, na, ki play the sad music. Okay, so our weight would be kind of like a simply increase. When the weight would be increased, then we went down. Okay, yeah, we can't look out and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. Then we play kind of like a EDM or electric dance music or things like that. Suddenly this happened. We are kind of like a started going up because our weight would be little less, so that would be really good. Okay, yeah. I don't know, yeah, this reality would be really amazing. Yeah. So this is what kind of like a simply the weird kind of like a simply what if question. Okay, yeah. I wanted to talk about this question much more further, but I don't really think that it would be kind of like a simply much more need to explain. I already mentioned, right? Well, like what should I supposed to be like, as I mentioned, like basically talk in details now. Let's just think about detail point of perspective. Ah, detail, yaar. What would be the detail? Yeah, just think about that. Keep the when the people are kind of like a somebody. What about driving? Okay, yeah. When the people are driving, then probably what would be obviously in the driving point of perspective, people might not gonna fly, but might not gonna kind of like a something that key driving would be kind of like a something is this thing that it will gonna impact regarding about the emotion that we're gonna feel. But the weight of the car is also kind of like a adding your things that na, like basically you are strapped by the kind of like a seat belt and things like that. If you are really happy, like let's just say that ki you are in the car and you are going to the kind of like a some road trip, then probably your car might gonna fly not really too much, because if you wanna fly, you are not flying. Like basically is this thing, your car is also adding little bit of weight, because the car of the weight, because car has its own weight, so probably car would not gonna fly, but still, okay, yeah, it's somewhat kind of like a something add little bit of like a less weight, right? Probably. uh detail, what would be the detail? Okay, yeah, think about well, I'm gonna say that na ki dude, if this thing happened, okay, I'm actually thinking about in detail point of perspective, but still we will not gonna grow. Why? Um, because of that, na, ki let me tell you one thing, na, ki growth means like the people growth is actually happened because of the failure. Yeah, somewhat you have to be understand. I'm kind of like somebody try to understand in average point of perspective. Okay, yeah, the entire human civilization is actually growth because of we actually kind of like somebody make mistake. We actually kind of like fail. Okay, yeah. So let me tell you one thing. In this reality, if we actually fail, our weight would be increase. Okay, yeah. So basically, what do we supposed to do is that key we try to avoid that situation. Let me tell you. Okay, let me kind of like give you the context point of perspective so that you would be understand a little bit better. Okay, let's just say that ki I don't know how to ride the bicycle. Okay, yeah. So I'm really scared while while kind of like a riding a bicycle. Okay, yeah. If I'm really scared, that means it add weight in myself. Okay, yeah. If it add weight in myself, then probably I would fall very brutally. Okay, yeah. And when I fall very brutally, I hurt so bad. And when I hurt so bad, it also add more weight. Okay, yeah. So probably what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that key if we fail, then like basically what exactly happened in reality, what exactly happened. Okay, if we fall to the bicycle, we actually try again, right? Yeah. And after we try again, we also fail again, but we try again. Okay, yeah. It will gonna hurt little bit, but still we try again. Because let me tell you one thing, if I wanted to learn the bicycle, I have to be try again. Now I can't drive the bicycle at first time, nothing really at all. Okay, yeah. Now in this reality, in this kind of like some imaginary situation, we are driving a bicycle and we actually fall. Okay, so because of fall we are actually hurt so much badly, more than in kind of like a something in real life. Let's just say that ki in a kind of like a something, just take an example. Okay, yeah. In real world, we actually fall from the bicycle, we actually feel the pain maybe 2%. Okay, yeah. But in this kind of like a something in this imaginary world, if we fall, we might gonna feel maybe hurt 10%. Okay, yeah. So basically 5 times more than that. Okay, yeah. So if we kind of like hurt 5 times more than that, then we need kind of like so much courage. We need kind of like so much courage to kind of like a simply kind of like a stand up and started kind of like a stand up and kind of like a drive this bicycle and stuff like that. Okay, yeah. It's kind of like a simply way much harder. What I'm trying to tell you is this thing, entire humanity is actually kind of like a when they fall, they try again, they kind of like a rise up. Okay, yeah. But in this imaginary world, people will not gonna rise up because it's not. But dude, why are you kind of like a thinking on that way? Okay, just explain, understand this thing. Okay, yeah. That key in this imaginary world. Okay, yeah. In this imaginary world, yes, if we kind of like a scared, we might gonna fall. Definitely, that is true. But what if we kind of like a simply be really happy, be really optimistic regarding about driving the bicycle, then we might not gonna fall because the weight of our body is kind of like a very less. So even if we actually fall, we might not gonna hurt that much, probably. Okay, yeah. But dude, let me tell you one thing. If we're gonna fall, how do we kind of like a simply optimistic at that time? Okay, because if I'm gonna say that ki I kind of like a lost my balance and I realize that ki I'm gonna fall, so probably at that time I would not gonna feel optimistic. Obviously not, because I'm actually feel scared of failing, right? So how do I supposed to feel optimistic when I'm kind of like a falling? And this is kind of like a fraction of second. So probably we can't, right? So optimistic would not gonna work over there, because like and I'm not talking about only example as a bike. I'm talking about as a every kind of like a simply the situation and kind of like a things and that. Okay, entire humanity is actually developed is because of we made mistake. Okay, and we actually learn from that, we rise up and we try again, right? Regarding about every situation in this imaginary world, we are really scared to kind of like try again, and we are really kind of like scared to failure and things like that. So basically is this thing what will gonna happen that key in this imaginary world we have to be kind of like a forcefully trying to be happy, forcefully trying to be happy, and this is not good. Okay, because if we are kind of like a try to be forcefully happy, then it's not, it's not like a happiness comes from you, comes from like basically within you. Okay, yeah, like basically if you are like basically this thing na ki when you are kind of like a watching any kind of like a stand-up comedy, you feel really good because of the jokes and things like that. But when the jokes are kind of like simply really not anything and you just kind of like a laughing, just kind of like a it just feel really awkward and things like that, huh? Same thing happened, you are kind of like a simply smiling very forcefully without having any kind of like a reason and things like that, because the rules are actually made because when you are happy you feel really lighter and things like that. So basically what is actually happened now ki entire humanities will not gonna grow. Okay, so basically we gonna change our direction. Okay, so our direction would be kind of like simply feel happy all the time. Even if there is no happy moment, we kind of like try to feel really happy all the time. And when this thing will happen, then probably we will not gonna grow. Okay, and we just kind of like meant to be happy all the time, even if you are kind of like a somebody hunger by death. Okay, we don't really have any food to eat or things like that, even if we are kind of like a dying, still we need to be happy. It's not, it is not gonna thing. So basically if in this imaginary world, this would be very crippled world, dude, very very crippled. Okay, yeah, this world might not gonna survive maybe more than year or maybe 2 year, that's it. Because let me tell you one thing, happiness is a kind of, yeah, let me tell you one thing, optimistic, being really happy is also really good, it's also really great. Okay, yeah, but let me tell you one thing ki I'm giving you example. Okay, yeah, how much sweet that you eat today, how much sweet that you eat. By the way, let me tell you my point of perspective, how much sweet that I eat today in my entire day, none. Yeah, literally, like basically I ate chocolate, baby, like I ate one chocolate just, and tea. Okay, yeah, like I consume tea twice, so that's it, just tea and that one chocolate, that's it. Okay, yeah, so this is kind of like a something sweet that I eat or drink today. Okay, as compared to normal food, like let me tell you one thing, in my entire normal food, okay, yeah, all this kind of like a food are little bit of spicy, little bit of kind of like a things which is not sweet. Okay, yeah, so in my entire diet, entire whatever stuff that I ate, only 5% are sweet, rest of the 95% are kind of like a something okay or little bit of spicy or things like that. Okay, and this is what our life are, like basically our happiness or whatever kind of like a things is it, it's only kind of like a take 5% of your thing, rest of your 95% actually filled with a lot of emotions and things and that and that. Okay, and this is what kind of like a something, it's good for kind of like a trying new things or kind of like understand or growth or making mistakes to kind of like not to do that mistake again or things like that. And it kind of like reflect in our growth too. Okay, because when we kind of like a fail, we next time we are trying not to do fail, so that means growth na. So this is what it is. Okay, yeah, so that's why this imaginary world might not gonna kind of like a something something that ki survive more than a year. Like basically if I'm gonna say that ki I'm actually giving you ice cream or kind of like whatever the sweet, you have to eat sweet all the time? Can you eat sweet all the time? No, nothing like that only. If I'm kind of like giving you like ice cream, whatever sweet, okay, whatever the sweet that you could imagine, everything that I will gonna give you, you will not gonna eat anything. You will have to eat sweet. You will not gonna eat that much. You will kind of like something that ki you will make sure that ki I will not gonna eat sweet. You will kind of like avoid that, because it's not it's our human body is not kind of like a simply not meant to be consumed that much amount of sweet, because it's a sugar and things like that. And another thing is a not, we also kind of like decided that we should supposed to be really happy all the time. Then it is not also possible too, because yes, there is a kind of like only one day will happen that ki you are spending time with your friend and things like that, and you will be really happy at that day, but rest of the day would be common and things like that, right? So this is what it is, dude. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing na ki having that particular balance is essential. Okay, being optimistic, being happy, being good is really good. Yeah, it's really great, but it's not kind of like a something like that ki responsible for growth. Okay, yeah, it's just kind of like a something like that ki it gives you little bit of happiness on that particular period of time, but in reality, if we are like, I don't know, yeah, dude. But yeah, this boy, this kind of like a what if question is really crazy, dude. I don't know, like basically I'm actually thinking about really wisely regarding about that and that and that. Oh my god. But like this is what I thought. This is what I'm kind of like trying to detail regarding about this. If gravity varied depending upon our mood and emotions and things like that. Really good. Yeah, it felt really great. By the way, I have a lot of what if question. I'm gonna ask this what if question because it's really kind of like a simply good. Okay, yeah. Is it good? It's a kind of like a mixture of happiness and sadness and kind of like somebody try to understand. I don't know. Whatever. This is it. Thank you.